Okay, on the receiver of the 1000 system, it plugs into a standard AC outlet with a common AC adapter, so you just insert the power cord like this. A slide button on the side here to power the receiver off and on. When the receiver is powered on, you'll notice the little green light lights up indicating that you do have power. On the back, there is a keyway mount, so you can wall mount the receiver. There's also a desktop mount that folds up to make it flush against the wall. Dry contact closure. Dry means there's basically no voltage, it just makes a connection. You can go up to 2 amp connection with it, so you could wire 110 directly into this, low voltage, intercoms, phone dialers, X10 devices. So there's a lot of options here as far as hooking up other peripherals to the basic system. And it does have a Form C relay, which includes normally open and normally closed, so you can choose what type of device you have if they need closed or open contact. And there you go. Now I'm going to show you real quick here on the volume. There's 2 buttons. One basically is a programming button. The other one is kind of the volume button. So if we push it one time, it'll show you the current volume, which all 3 LEDs can indicate that that is the loudest. But I'm going to go. It just basically does a loop. So that's the loudest. There is a silent mode, and then there's our quietest, second, third, and fourth. So the lowest is a 1 LED, second is a 2 LED, 3 is the third LED, and then fourth, the loudest, all 3 LEDs light at the same time. And then with the number 1 button, basically, I'm not going to show you anything, but that one you can actually, this is where you do the programming of additional sensors. The receiver will support up to 12 sensors. You can stack 3 sensors per channel. The 4th channel on this unit, though, is what's called a latching output, which in some instances, some customers do request that, but a latching output means once the sensor is triggered, it will not shut off until you actually hit the number 2 button to reset it. Otherwise, we're going to go through and let you hear the different sounds. So again, if you use this on a perimeter type system at home, you could put one on the driveway, example, swimming pool, backyard, outbuildings, wherever you want to monitor a deck, anything like that. I'm going to let you hear the different sounds, so then the sound would indicate, basically called zoning. It's going to indicate where the area is that was triggered. So obviously we've heard this sound, and that's our number 1 channel. I did a double trigger there. And then this was another tone that's available. That would be the 2nd channel. And then the 3rd channel is a little more alerting. And that's the 3rd channel. The 4th channel sounds exactly like the 3rd channel, again, only it continues to constantly beat until you would just hit the number 2 button. It requires per se, a human hand to actually touch the number 2 button to reset it. So that's a pretty good overview of the receiver. You can add as many receivers, it's unlimited, to your system. So if you have different parts in the home that you would like to hear the zoning, again, unlimited. Or you can even program the receivers to respond just to certain sensors and not to others, or you can clone them and make them all the same. So again, that's part of our tech support. You know, people order, you need help with that, you can always call us, because we offer, obviously, tech support, repair, and service on all of our product. Okay, we're going to talk about mounting locations of the sensor. With most of the sensors available on the market now, a lot of them do require like what we call like a front mount. So basically, if we're simulating the camera view as a driveway, per se, coming toward the podium, most of the sensors are required. They basically have to be mounted in clear view to anyone approaching the sensor, which that's okay, but we really prefer to have the sensor where it can be a little somewhat hidden. So now, obviously on the back side you can still see it, but if somebody drives in right now, you can obviously, the sensor is not visible to anybody approaching your property. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and turn on the receiver now, and then as I walk through the beam, you'll hear the sensor trigger. I'm going to do it one more time. And shut this thing off. But what we can do now is the beam will look out about 60 feet maximum, or again we can do the short range 20 foot. But what I'm going to do now is instead of positioning the sensor straight across, which we normally do not recommend, I'm going to put a slight tip in it. And what I'm actually going to do is tip it fairly steep. So you could literally like use this to control if you had a very, say, a 3 foot wide area for like drive-throughs and coffee shops, anything like that. We could actually set it up now. As you'll see, I'll walk through it, and again, it should trigger. But if I take a few steps over and I walk over here, you'll notice it doesn't go off as it would if it was tipped straight across. It may not even if I stay tight. Yeah, it didn't go off. So this is, if you had a really specific area, you can again tailor that sensor to view whatever you need. Another option is if the sensor would be mounted in a configuration like this, again I can also swivel the eye, and if I wanted to look at a certain angle instead of straight this way, again that can all be adjusted with the rotating eye. Case in point with this sensor too, don't always think of this as just for the driveway. We can use it for home perimeter. Again, this is a perfect example, mounting it on some type of fence to cover a perimeter area, which is a very growing segue of the the sensor market. Again, this is outdoor rated. However, if there's no problem if you want to use it inside too, an option is we can mount the sensor over a door, and if for customers, retail, whatever, warehouses, you can actually have the sensor trigger over a door. You could go across, you can mount it on the wall, and span up to 60 feet, like if you had open garage doors, that type of thing. Again, you want to know if people were walking in or out of doors. So again, there's a lot of options with the sensor other than just using it for a driveway, which it seems like that's been tagged in the industry as just driveway sensors. But again, perimeter is very, very popular.